What does the Bible say Solomon did? Read it again.
Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things?
So all them concubines Solomon had that he dealt with, it was a what?
Sin.
It was sin when Solomon did.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakahakudash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect and the 1/3 remnant out there listening and doing this word with all faith and sincerity scattered amongst the nations and the four corners of the earth. To you I say shalom, Lord willing. This video is edifying. It's going to be sitting around this short clip that I got from IUIC. I caught this watching Elder Apostle Tahar's live stream going into the content that was being posted by IUIC, going into a bunch of different things. But as you can see, the main topic is supposed to be, the mark of the beast, but it's a 2-hour and 42-minute video, and they kind of went all around everywhere else before they actually touched on the subject. But within that, they made, a statement that, I chose, or I'm choosing to highlight. It's a lot of different, things you could take out, and do videos on in this. But in particular, I'm gonna highlight, he made a statement which was false. He said King Solomon sinned because he had multiple women, and I think he's alluding to also those women being heathen were a sin. And these are both lies, but these guys, they teach that doctrine of monogamy, right? Because it's easy to digest for women, right? Because that's what they've been brought up knowing, and that's what they've been conditioned to accept. So this is what they run with because it protects their interests, right? In a large congregation, and being able to have the numbers that they do for whatever reasons, whether it's money, whether it's clout, I don't know. But one thing's for sure is that statement was false, and I'm going to try to put the video in here, but, lately I haven't been able to do that. So we'll see, Lord will, that's the case. But he made the statement that King Solomon went off because he had multiple wives, right? And we're going to get this. This is 1 Kings 11. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which Yahweh Shemashah said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. So, King Solomon, he, as it went into, he had multiple wives from multiple different nations, right? And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. See? So these different nations of women, for one, just the quantity of women that he had turned away his heart, right? For one, because you get that many women, your mind is not going to be geared, not in these bodies, right? It's bound to go left, which is why the Lord put that warning in the law, right? It was almost forecasting what would happen to King Solomon in the future, right? Matter of fact, it was not even almost. Okay. And he specifically spoke on these different nations because these different nations had different gods, right? And if you with a woman, period, the scriptures say you become one flesh, right? So some things that you do, a lot of things that you do, you're gonna pick, or she's gonna pick up off you, and also in the return, you're gonna pick up certain things off her. That's just how it goes, right? Whether it's a certain acquire for food, right? Maybe you didn't like baked chicken before you met your woman, but due to her making it, or, maybe she gave it to you in a different way, right? She cooked it different. Your taste buds preferred it more, right? And after having it, over and over again, you start to build a taste for it, right? So that was the danger in dealing with women from foreign nations, okay? But was it a sin to have a woman from a foreign nation? And that answer would be no, right? And this is going to prove it. Is this it? Yep. This is Deuteronomy 21:10. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and Yahweh Shemawashai, thy power hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. Wait a minute. Go to war with thine enemies and wife. You see a beautiful woman amongst them and you want to wife them. What? That can't be in the law, because IUIC said that you ain't supposed to deal with foreign women, right? So which one, obviously the Bible is true, right? The scripts are true. So these men, they're twisting the word of the Lord, right? Because what they're saying isn't aligning with the scriptures, okay? Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall have her head and shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put on the raiment of her captivity, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. After that, thou shalt go into her and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. So after this period of time of you taking this captive woman, right? Seizing this captive woman against her will, may I add, you know, because I'm pretty sure she wasn't for it, right? That's probably what the time period of 30 days is given for, right? For her to settle in that thought and the realization that this is going to be her new life, right? Because she grew up different in a foreign land, learning foreign customs with foreign gods and idols, right? That after this time period, you gonna go into her and be her husband. You're gonna have sexual intercourse with her and be her husband, and she will be your wife. So what is he talking about? That whole doctrine is flawed, right? All throughout the scriptures. This is Deuteronomy 21:15. If a man have two wives, whoa. So it's in the law about if a man having two wives, if he has two wives, is, you know, wow, that's in the scriptures. But IUIC said that, you know, it's off. They bring up the letters of Paul, right? But what they forget to mention is that Paul said that it's better not to have a wife. And if you got one, be as though you have not one, right? Because ultimately, women are a form of distraction from the truth, especially now in this day and age, you know. These women don't believe. That's why the scriptures say that they shall be saved in childbearing. Okay? That's the whole purpose of Isaiah 4:1. That's what it, you know. But these guys don't go into that. Either they don't go into that, or they simply don't understand that. Either way, they're wrong, right? So let's go into Isaiah 4:1. When this Isaiah 4:1 in the Good News translation, right? Because this version of this scripture in particular is very easy to understand, right? Because you could twist, you know, the KJV version in a lot of different ways where it doesn't say that, you know. But it's hard to twist this. This is Isaiah 4:1. When that time comes, 7 women will grab hold of one man and say, we can feed and clothe ourselves, but please let us say you are our husband. Whoa. You know? What and how would they be able to say that? Well, you would have to sleep with them. You would have to lay down with these women. Okay? You would have to have sex with these women. And the scriptures say 7. But you guys, so at minimal, the scriptures is saying 7. Face value, right? Because we know that 7, it really represents completion. So it's going to be more than 7 in some cases, right? In some cases, it could be less than 7. But face value, we're just going to say 7 is going to take hold of one man of the Lord. Well, 7 is more than 1, as you guys like to say. And this is during a time of tribulation, right? This is doing, because if you read Isaiah 3, it goes right into Isaiah 4. Because, and it also says when that time comes, because it details the time of great tribulation for Israel, but especially the woman of Israel. Okay? And then the next chapter, right, which is Isaiah 4, when that time comes, 7 women shall grab, they're going to grab hold, they're going to be fighting, desperately looking and searching out one man, right? A man of who? Yahweh Shema Shai. And say we can feed and clothe ourselves, but let us say You are our husband so that we won't have to endure the shame of being unmarried. Because at that time, in that day, the shame of being unmarried is going to be death for a woman, right? Because they're not going to have no hedge of protection. Isaiah 32, right? They're not going to have no protection. They're not going to have any brace from this time of trouble that's coming. Because if, you are a woman of, the Lord, a woman of the Most High, right? A God-fearing woman, then he's going to give unto you a God-fearing man, right? So to speak, because a woman is going to be saved in childbearing, right? This is 1 Timothy 3 2 Timothy 3 and 5. Having a form of godliness, but denying the powers thereof, from such turn away. And these guys have that form of godliness. They wear the fringes. They all deep, right? They got all the gimmicks. They got, the big brand. Okay. They market themselves well. All right. But they deny the power of Yahweh B'Shem Shah. They reverence Jesus the Christ. Right? That's who they reverence. That's the name that they give power unto. That's the name that they pray to. Right? So that is their God. Their God is a pagan, pagan God. Because we know who Jesus the Christ is. So every day these guys are committing idolatry, which is the sin that King Solomon went down for, right? That was the sin he was guilty of, was idolatry. And it's awfully funny how they say that King Solomon went off because of women when he went off for this in the same way that you're doing, right? You going off, you sinning first and foremost in idolatry. That's the sin that you guys are guilty of, among a bunch of other things, but idolatry is for sure, because you don't even reverence Yahweh B'Shem Shah. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts. And they want to talk about lust, right? If you want more than one woman, or if you have more than one woman, you're lustful and you're making the truth into lasciviousness and all this other silly shit, right? But really, they're projecting that because that's what they're doing. That's what these men are doing, okay? They spit in this game strictly for them women, man. Strictly because that's a weak simp mindset to be out here, talking about a man should just have one woman. If that's what you want, bro, cool. But to say that that's the requirement for every man, get out of here with that. And then to try to put scriptures behind it, is just diabolical. Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth, right? So these guys will never be able to come and come into acceptance of the truth of Yahweh B'Shem Shah, right? They'd have a chance even if they prayed to the name, maybe. These guys don't even acknowledge the name. So they have zero chance, man. So with that, I give all praise and the glory to Yahweh B'Shem Shah, B'Shem B'Kakodash, Wa Abba B'Bal, and DTA.